go into the nitty-gritties of that, but your response to the NDC is coming 9 days after, they officially petitioned you at your offices here in the Greater Accra region and indeed across the country. Why did it take you so long to respond?
The time they were having, they had the peaceful demonstration, we had just finished our nomination exercise. And when you do the nominations, you go through a lot of processes. You have to review the documents, all those the candidates brought, the presidential as well as even the parliamentary at the constituency level. So all these were activities being undertaken by the Electoral Commission. And we had to announce that some people had qualified to proceed to the next stage, which is becoming candidates for president, and others were equally not successful, or they were disqualified. So as a commission, we've been doing a lot of things. So I think that even within these 9 days, we've done well to be able to put this comprehensive responses together, which I think that anyone who reads it will realize that this is a commission that really means good for the people of this country and for the advancement of our electoral democracy. I see,
but so if the commission had a lot to do, would it then be the case that you didn't have time to go through the NDC's petition? Reason your position has not changed?
No, when you look at NDC's petition and the responses we have provided, we've looked at each item. So all the responses have been provided. And there's a reason why I was making the point that anyone who reads, if you have read the petition by the NDC and you read the responses proffered by the commission, you realize that everything has been tackled. And I believe that
the point I'm making is that when I read, and I have read your response to the NDC, it would appear that you have just regurgitated in print what you read during your news conference in response to the original demands from you.
I think this is completely different, largely because this one we've gone into some specifics, and some of the legal provisions in our CI. So we've gone into specific, because they had some items that were listed. For example, they were talking about using the provisional register for the nomination process, which we've responded based on what the law says. So I think that the commission has done a very decent job.
Indeed. And that's why I want us to look at some of the issues that have been raised here. First, you start off that the law makes provision for a process for the register to be cleaned,
yes,
which is the exhibition process.
Yes.
But it is the same process that the NDC has raised questions about, because they do not think that the exhibition process is bringing out the issues that they have identified, the issues that they think need attention. And so the question they're asking is, what are you hiding?
No, Kevin, we are not hiding anything. The reality is this. When you look at voter registration, when you register people, for those who do research, you are going to the field to gather raw data. So when you gather this information, what you do is, with the exhibition, is now to situate that these people are going to vote in this particular polling station based on what they indicated. So what the Electoral Commission has been saying all along is that when you look at the exhibition, it says display the voters register, so that people will come and check their names. So even before the exhibition, we ran a lot of commercials, and we're saying that don't assume that the fact that you have registered, it means your name is in the voters register. Because the law provides that after the registration, all the names must be exhibited publicly at all the exhibition centers or the polling stations where people indicated during the registration that they will be voting at. So the exhibition is part of the registration process. So what the Electoral Commission is saying is that until you finish that process, you will not be able to have a register that is very, very credible, that is very, very accurate. And the Commission has maintained that per the exhibition, we are expecting to receive certain outcomes. And those are some of the outcomes the NDC identified.
Like which one?
For example, they said they noticed that some names were missing, about 3,957. They mentioned that. They also indicated that some people have been transferred illegally to certain places. Apart from that, we had many Ghanaians who also went to the polling stations where as far as they were concerned, they were supposed to vote in that particular place, but their names were not there. So all these were things the commission was expecting. So as I speak to you now, I can say on authority that all the problems that were identified by the NDC and the Ghanaians, almost about 4 million Ghanaians who went to the exhibition centers to go and check their names, all of them have been resolved. Because that's the essence of the exhibition.
So here's my follow-up on that. Could the exhibition have identified the fact that over 240,000 voters who transferred their votes in 2020 had been added to the 2024 transfer list?
No, the reason why we give the register to the parties, we give to them.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, could the exhibition exercise have identified such a problem?
Yes, because before the NDC even brought their concerns, we had a meeting with them. In some of the constituencies or the district, they had identified that the number of transferred voters they had were more than what they were expecting. And that's what the exhibition does. So when you look at it, that's why we've maintained our responses.
So before the NDC came forward with this, the Electoral Commission already knew?
No, that information came to us.
No, you already knew that, some 240,000 voters who had transferred their vote in 2020 had been added to the 2024 list again.
And we said before we met the NDC and they started complaining, we had picked the information from one of the districts. Because, every district has the number of people who transferred in each particular year. And in this instance, we did the transfers in 2020, 2023, and 2024. So I remember one of the districts called that they were expecting about 2,000 something, but they ended up with about 4,000.
And this is your own officer calling?
No, our officers complain, and the NDC has a national office, national reps who make some of these demands. Apart from that, the parties also have people at the regional and the district level. So usually what happens is that when they identify a problem, although the register is a national document, we also have registers for each district. And in the general election, we have registers for each constituency. So the register for each particular constituency or each particular district, what happens is that the parties, they also have copies. And what the EC does is that we have the list of all people who are registered in the particular district. Our officers we have the forms we use, forms 1A and form 1C, which have the names of all the people who are registered in that particular place. So every time you send a register to that particular district and there is any discrepancy, our officers will identify them and they will let you know that in our district we are supposed to have 80,280 people on our register. But what you have given to us is less than that. So then they will do a matching.
So how many of such cases were identified by your officers?
No, I wouldn't be able to put an exact number, but what I know is that almost every district we had
something of that nature.
That's the essence of the exhibition. We display the register, we identify all the problems, and the law provides that when you go through all these processes, then you get to the point of printing a final register, which you would then use for the elections.
Doc, educate me if I'm wrong. The exhibition exercise is for the public to go and see their details.
To go and check their details.
So at what point were your officers also checking to come up with the information that they shared with you?
No, once we started the exhibition, our officers also got to work. They had to work. Because in our presentation, you realize that we have what we call the register viewer. The register viewer, each district is able to look at the number of people who are registered in that particular district. They have all their details. So once there is any discrepancy, they are able to identify. So we've been saying that we've been using this four-pronged approach to be able to ensure that we have a very credible register. Number one is that you have the registered voter who will go to the exhibition center to go and check whether their details are intact. Apart from that, you also have the exhibition officer. We display the registers at almost 40,653 or so polling stations or exhibition centers. So the onus was also on each exhibition officer to ensure that the names that were supposed to vote in that particular place, all of them are intact. Apart from that, our district officers who also did the registration, or they are now in charge of the districts, they had the responsibility of ensuring that the total number of people who are registered voters in the districts, they are the same numbers they have. So once there is anyone who is missing, then they have to check the source documents that were used.
I see. So then what you're telling us is that the exhibition exercise was not only for voters who are on the register to go and check and correct their details, but your own officers were also comparing.
The law allows that. Yes. So if even you are a voter and you don't go there to go and check, our officers are getting to work on it because the law has made provisions for that.
I see. So then it brings me back to the point. You mentioned one district where you were expecting 2,000, you had 4,000. How many of such districts had you identified in the course of the exercise?
On the basis of the petition by the NDC. The NDC mentioned that they've noticed about 243,000 illegal transfers. Yes. And the commission has maintained that those were not illegal. But what happened was that in generating the data, we inadvertently added 2020 transfers as well as 2023 transfers to that of the 2024. So they are not illegal transfers.
Okay.
They are genuine transfers, but we added 2020, 2023. But we have since corrected. So when we are giving final...
So how come that was added? Have you identified where the problem came from?
No, when the software was... this is how the system works. When we did the 2020 registration, we also did 2023 registration. Automatically, the numbers will add up. Is that also? 2024. So in 2020, we registered almost 17,027,000. And in 2023, we did almost 910,000. So it will automatically add. So during that generation process, the system added everything. So transfers 2020, 2023, 2024. And we have what we call absentee list. 2020, 2023, 2024. So for anyone who understands our process, you realize that these are not something somebody will do and you claim that the person has deliberately done it to influence the outcome. Because those are legitimate transfers that were done. But unfortunately or inadvertently, the commission added them to that of 2024.
So the 2,094 voters who transferred their votes in 2024, but their names were missing on the absentee list have been added.
All of them, we've addressed them.
You fixed that.
We've fixed them.
If you have fixed all the problems, what evidence are you asking for from the NDC again?
So let me come in. This is what the commission is saying. For you to be doubly sure that your concerns have been addressed, come to the discussion table, bring your issue. Because when we had the meeting with the NDC, they showed us one of the missing names. Instantly, our IT boss, who was in that particular meeting, showed them that, this person you are saying is missing from the register. The person is actually in the register. And beyond that, we can provide the evidence. But when we finish with the exhibition, what we do is that we have a process where those whose names have been objected to, those whose names are supposed to be removed from the register, we go through a legal process where we have somebody we call District Registration Review Officer, who is normally an officer of the court, usually a district magistrate, a court official. So what they do is that we go through that process, and those processes are about to be completed. So until we finish that process, we can't say we are giving you. But the commission is ready to meet all the political parties, the MPP, the NDC, all of them at the discussion table to explain to you everything. So we know all the concepts, because the essence of the exhibition is to correct discrepancies, and we have done that.
And you have done that exhibition exercise, and how you say will clean the exercise. We also know that one of the outcomes of the exhibition exercise is also to rid the register of deceased people. The NDC had posted a very large number of deceased people on the list, and I want to find out from you, have you cleared that as well?
No, I think this one, I don't know how to even put it, but let's be very clear. When you talk about the voters register, every year in Ghana we know people die, and in Ghana I think that we are looking at, is it the mortality rate is almost 7.6 out of every 1,000 people die every year. So when you look at the data, every year some people die in our country. But the exhibition has provided an avenue for deceased persons to be removed. So once people don't go to the exhibition centers to go and inform the exhibition officer that my family member has died, and this is the evidence, this is the death certificate, this is the obituary notice, this is evidence that the person is dead, there is no way, because if we are not very careful, I remember in 2019, we had an instance, or was it 2018 when we did the exhibition, some people went to remove someone's name, insisting that the person was dead, not knowing the person was alive. So the law has provided a mechanism to do that. So when you look at it critically, every year you may have a certain number of Ghanaians who are registered voters.
Right, so I mean, so what's the mechanism that the law has created to be able to read the register of?
The law is very clear. It says that once somewhere a family member has died, go to the exhibition center with the death certificate of that person, the obituary notice, as well as the person's voter ID card. So those who did that, their names have been removed.
But those who didn't will continue to be on the list.
And they will continue to be on that because we don't know, we don't have that information. And it's possible in every family house in Ghana, there could be one or two people who are gone and their names are on the voters register. But the Electoral Commission cannot say, oh, we think this person is dead, so we are going to remove the name. So the Electoral Commission will require information from the public, and they must come with evidence. Because if we don't do that, we may end up having people removing the names of others. So you go through a process. You go through a process, you must submit evidence of death.
Which means that, you know, at some point we should have a more robust way of determining that.
Yes.
I see.
And it's one of the things the Commission was doing with the new CI, to work closely with the birth and death registry, to ensure that we could engage them and have a way of removing the dead instantly. But under the current system and the CI 91 as amended by CI 126, what the law provides is that individuals must bring evidence. The death certificate, the obituary notice, all these things must be brought to the attention of the exhibition officer. From that on, the process of removing the name will be triggered.
I see. Dr. Bossman, would you agree with me that the patronage of the exhibition exercise was underwhelming?
Historically, exhibition patronage has been like that.
No, but this year, I want us to focus on this year.
This year is not unique. Since I've been at the Electoral Commission, this year we did almost 29 point something %, which is one of the highest.
But it's still underwhelming, no, isn't it?
It's something that Ghanaians in general, the thinking is that once I register, I know my name is there. So it's one of the things all of us, media players, all of us must be involved. Right. The Electoral Commission will do, but the onus is on individuals to go and check. And I also think it's because historically people have believed that once you register, about 99.9% of the time,
your name will be there.
But it's something we need to move beyond that and still encourage people to go and check.
So this is where I'm going with that. If we both admit that the exercise was underwhelming, then we can say also that a chunk of the cleaning has been based on what your officers report to you, based on we have so and so number, and now we have more than such a number on the register. So when officers don't report that back to you, then it means that the register for that district or that polling center remains bloated.
Oh, in terms of, as for bloating, I wouldn't talk about bloating. Because when you talk about bloating of a voters register, then maybe you are saying maybe some 20% of the people are not supposed to be there. But what we do is that our officers work under operational instructions. So the commission would demand that check. Because you have the details, and that's what you do for living. And
but in the district that you mentioned, it was more than 20%. You said there was supposed to be 2,000, and then when the register came,
that one was more about the transfer, which is not so much about the job of the district. The generation was done at the head office.
I absolutely understand. What I'm saying is that the difference would have to be reported by your officers. In the event, for whatever reason, your officers are not able to report back that difference to you, then that anomaly remains on the register and will be used whichever way it is intended for.
Okay, let me put it in this perspective. For the issue we talked about, that 2,000 and it ended up being about 4,000, that one is not only the preserve of the district. That one is mainly more about the national office. But what the district officers do is that you have the register for your district. So, and you have what we call the source documents, which is the Form 1A. And you have all those. So you have them in a pile like this. So what you do is that your job is to cross-check. And you know, at the district level, we have the district officers. There are some who work under the district officers. Beyond the district office too, we have the regional director. And you know, when we did the registration, you gave us this particular information that I registered this number. And in our registration too, we have what we call start of day report and end of day report. So we know the numbers you registered every day. We should give you this particular number. So the numbers that have been submitted to you from the headquarters, if there is any discrepancy, it is your job as a district officer to bring it to the attention of the commission.
Which is why I'm saying if that job is not done, then it means the anomaly will remain on the register without your knowledge at the head.
But from our experience, all our district officers are very good when it comes to that. And because you are not the only one who knows what the problem there, because you've already given, you know, our processes are so transparent that the numbers the political parties also know.
But it was also an electoral officer who engaged in that, illegal act in Pusiga. It was also an electoral officer. So we cannot assume that all the officers are honest and they will report back to you at the head office that so and so anomaly has gone on.
You know, generally, this is what happens. The officers on the field, they take operational instructions from the head office, from their regional directors. And certainly you are dealing with human beings, so you are going to have one or two people who may do something differently. But the point I was making is that the parties are also aware of the numbers total registered. Don't forget that in 2020, we gave the registers for each district to the parties. We did same in 2023. So any party should be able to know the number registered in this particular district. So if we are doing the exhibition and the commission says that, oh, Asante Achim Central, the number is now 60,000, the parties know that, in the last, when we even did the registration in 2023, we had 62. And we've done another registration. Why is the Electoral Commission now saying? And we have all the source documents over there to be able to address
which is what is happening.